Good morning, everybody. It's time for the Bry Five for the Week 12 college football season 2019. So after 11 weeks, I have a record of 39-16. I went 3-2 last week. Both of my losses were by the same score, 31-26. So they were both close. So here's my 5 picks this week. The first one, I'm taking Nebraska over Wisconsin. I'm taking Notre Dame over Navy, Georgia over Auburn, Iowa over Minnesota, and Oklahoma over Baylor. Now, November is when you separate the men from the boys. And that's what's going to happen this weekend to Minnesota and Baylor. Minnesota and Baylor are great stories right now. They're both undefeated. Of course, nobody expected them to be that way, but they've also had very weak schedules. And what you're going to see this week is pretty much the same reason why no non-Power 5 team could really actually compete with a Power 5 conference at a high level, and why they shouldn't be eligible for the CFP until you move to 8 teams. And it's because it's one thing to key on one game, but can you have back-to-back top-level performances against difficult competition? Baylor had their first real challenge in TCU, and it took them 3 overtimes to win. Well, now they've got Oklahoma. Oklahoma's used to this. Baylor's not. I think Oklahoma puts them away, and I don't really even think it's going to be all that close. The other one, Minnesota, they're a team nobody expected anything from. They came out of nowhere. Nobody really even expected them to beat Penn State. But they did, and they were home. But now they go to one of the most difficult places to win in the Big Ten, and that's Iowa City to face Iowa, who, is a good team this year. The back-to-back, plus having to go on the road to a difficult location, is what's going to knock them off. It's not going to be a blowout. It'll be a close game, but Iowa will prevail. I'm ex-Navy, and I always have a soft spot in my heart for Navy, and I'm not really all that convinced that Notre Dame's a great team. But still, Notre Dame usually seems to just have Navy's number. I'll take Notre Dame. Georgia and Auburn. Georgia is a team that's about to start firing on all cylinders, and they were my preseason national championship pick. I'm going to ride or die with Georgia until they get knocked out. I just don't see a freshman quarterback, even though, it's November. I still don't see a freshman quarterback being able to handle Georgia's defense. And it's going to be suffocating. I think Georgia wins by between 10 to 14. My upset special this week is Wisconsin losing to Nebraska. Nebraska's been very inconsistent this year, but I'm a believer that Scott Frost is the right man for that job. And I think what you're going to see is they're going to make the leap forward, and year 2 is usually when that happens. And I see this as being sort of a statement game for Nebraska. I see them coming out and handing Wisconsin a whipping. And by the way, Wisconsin has looked good when they've won, but when they've lost this year, they have looked awful. I wouldn't be surprised to see Nebraska just utterly beat the brakes off of Wisconsin this weekend. So that's my Bry 5. I'm taking Nebraska over Wisconsin. I'm taking Notre Dame over Navy, Georgia over Auburn, Iowa over Minnesota, and Oklahoma over Baylor. I'll talk to y'all later.